Thank you very much for joining us for our February general meeting. We have a special presentation from LeAndre Level from the Marion County Prosecutor Office. And then if you'll stick around, we will be televising our general meeting as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Level. That's all yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you don't mind if I just take off my mask while I'm presenting. I'm vaccinated and boosted, so no worries about that. Well, first, thank you for having me. My name is LeAndre Level. I'm with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator, one of our team that's the size of three, and in fact. I joined the prosecutor's office a little over a year ago, January of 21. Before that, I worked in some government roles at the Indiana State Legislature and had a little short stint in the mayor's office. Just a little bit more about me and our team. You know, when Prosecutor Mears came into office, he wanted to have a greater emphasis and focus on community development and building that trust with the community. And by doing so, he formed our community outreach team. So I'm one of the coordinators. Our director is Carla Lopez Owens, and another colleague of mine is Julianne Miller. You guys may have been familiar with Leela Weidler. I know she's really great, and she's been a great champion of the West Side for some times. I know she's a West Sider, so she used to come to these meetings and not. She is still within our office, but she is actually taken on a different role within the prosecutor's office. She's actually an investigator now. She's with the Adult Protective Services. So Leah's great. She's doing well. Just when we kind of conformed this team, we want to make sure that it fit everyone. And so Leah is now in a different role, but we're still happy to have her, and I still talk to her quite often. A little bit more about me. I've actually not lived too far from here, about 10 minutes away, so not quite Speedway, but still enjoying the community. I come here all the time whenever, grab some food or whatever. And of course, the race. We can't forget about the race. So, and I do enjoy the race, and I try to get to the track where I can. But today I do want to talk about a variety of different things. One, I want to talk about some things and tips to identify scammers and potential fraud, theft, prevention tips. But I also want to talk about, it's been a while since someone from the prosecutor's office has been here. So I want to talk about some of the programs we've been doing, some of the things we're doing in the community, but also too some of the general facts and statistics that's going on in our office, especially now that 21 is over. And we certainly have some information to share with the public regarding some of the cases and things we've moved forward in with the prosecutor's office. But before I jump into that, any questions thus far? I kind of went through that a little bit. So one of the things we always tell folks, especially dealing with online fraud and prevention, is online is the biggest place where people become victims of fraud. In fact, you probably have seen this. There's been a lot of text messaging going on, particularly from the gas and electric company, AES, was saying, hey, you haven't paid your bill. That's one of the biggest scammers that we're going on right now. Sometimes you might get a text from AT&T, say, hey, you haven't paid your bill, or things like that. Or the most famous one, some prince in Nigeria needs to borrow some money, right? But scams can come in so many different forms and fraud, and we want to make sure that you are having the tools and responsibility to make sure that you can prevent yourself from becoming a victim of that, but also to keep an eye on others as well. Particularly our most vulnerable community, like our elderly and young adults. In fact, just speaking for our youth in particular, we make a strong emphasis, and we actually have a staff person. His name is Jake Brocious, does our youth engagement, because believe it or not, when young adults, particularly high schools, start sending each other inappropriate messages, sometimes that could be used against them in so many ways. Not only is that against the law for sending those illicit messages, it's a way for someone to use against them down the line in the future. So we want to make sure people be conscious of that. And in fact, that program is called Cyber Safety. So we have a cyber safety program to kind of talk about some of these fraud prevention programs, but also to some of these ways to kind of make sure not all your information is out there, especially your most vulnerable ones. So we try to let people know that, when you put your information out online, you be very conscious about that, particularly like your social security number, all of your information. So if someone starts calling you, say, hey, what's your information? You want to start asking questions like, what do you need this for? Who are you from? Right? And even certain times of the year can be more vulnerable. In fact, I just got a report today that that one of the top years for scamming is actually Valentine's Day. Believe it or not, because when people go online and they're, oh, I got to get my partner some flowers, they will usually click on the top link of the what's going on of the ad, and they click on that link and they start putting on their information. Yes, I want this to have delivered to this person. They put the credit card information, and it doesn't arrive because then they collect all the information, and then the flowers doesn't arrive. So that's just one way that people, unfortunately, kind of very easy, vulnerable way for people to kind of get their information stolen. Online video games, particularly like the ones on Facebook. You know, when you kind of clicked on those little horoscopes and little puzzles and quizzes, that is one of the most predatory ways for people to steal your information. Because you put your information, your date of birth, your number and things like that. You might think it's, oh, just, you know, my number and my date of birth, but that's information they can build up on you, and they store that God knows where. So you definitely want to be conscious of that type of information that you give away. What I would say to kind of avoid these kind of ways of people kind of in approaching into your information is obviously report it. No matter what, how frivolous it is, and it may seem like it's they're not going to do anything about it, call the police. And also you can report it to the Better Business Bureau. You can also report it to the Attorney General's office. In fact, I would say other than the police, the number one contact should be the Attorney General's office, because they have a whole department dedicated towards fraud prevention, but also to do not call lists, especially if you get calls multiple times if you suspect these people are scammers. But also too, they have a unit that's dedicated for fraud prevention, and it's called the Consumer Complaint. So make sure you call the Attorney General if you are noticing a business or a hostile agitator who is approaching you more aggressively, trying to get more information, especially if they're trying to confirm information from you. You want to make the best judgment towards that and making sure you can prevent those information. Also, too, like I said, the Better Business Bureau is a great place, too, especially if they're a business. Like I mentioned before, regarding Valentine's Day, they get a lot of complaints regarding business that use predatory tactics, but also, too, people who portray themselves as a certain business to try to get scam people out of gifts and flowers and things like that. So try to use best judgment on that. And like I said, any situation before our office to get involved to move forward with those charges is make sure there's a paper trail. Meaning if you call the police or you call the Attorney General's office, you want to make sure there's a report, you gave all your information, make sure it's accurate, and then they will do the investigation for us. And just one distinction between our office and IMPD or the Speedway Police is that we don't do the investigation here in the prosecutor's office. The police does. The detectives, whether that's homicide or robbery, you name it, they do all the investigation. And then when they give a report and affidavit to our office, that's when we move forward with charges. But we're in constant consultation with them. It's like, yes, I think we can move forward with charges, or no, I don't think this is enough information. That's crucial, important, because as IMPD and Speedway Police builds their case, they have a history and can report on the trails of information that you have provided. Then we can move forward with that type of investigation and move forward with those charges. So very important always, no matter what, how frivolous you think it is, call the police, make sure they do a report, and make sure you're following up with them, give all the information. So then our office can move forward with charges if it rises to the level of incrimination. So I would say those are some very general tips. We usually tell people, call the police, call the AG's office, report them to the Better Business Bureau. If you notice a business or someone's trying to commit some type of fraud, either using your information, whether that's trying to blackmail you, or even someone you don't know online that has information on you, you definitely want to report that, because we want to know who this person is. And I would say it is very difficult to try to prosecute those individuals, because one, we need a lot of information, but also two, if they're all the way in a different country, not really much we can do about it. But also two, just try to be conscious of your surroundings as well. Now we're kind of transitioning in from the, talking about scams and things like that, but just general safety practice. In our office, we have a program called, forgot the name off the top of my head, but essentially it's a program where we give tips about your surroundings in the community. And we do this a lot with IMPD. One, right now, as you can imagine, probably more important, is the cold weather. When you leave your car out running in the morning, that's how a lot of cars get stolen, because they warm up the car, they leave the car unlocked, especially or in the garage, and next you know they walk back out and the car is gone. So general tips like that of understanding your surrounding, make sure your area is light up, your walkway, but also your house. So if you're in the middle of the night, you hear something, what's going on, then next you know you're getting robbed or someone breaks into your house. So just using situational awareness of what's going on in your surroundings. I know you kind of walked here today. I know it's dark outside, so you definitely want to be around who's following me and keep an eye on that. So just kind of be aware of what's going on in your surroundings, and that also obviously helps prevent and deter crime in so many ways. You'd be surprised. So yeah, any questions kind of dealing with scams or imposters or anything like that thus far?
Yeah, we had a question. When you say, so if it is like a text message, should we take like a screenshot of it?
Yes.
Or if it's an email, should we like save it? Okay. And then
Yes.
also, I guess if it's a telephone number, we should like, keep that number. Like that's the kind of information
Yes.
that we should be like saving to add.
Yes, and that builds that paper trail that I was talking about earlier. Gather as much information as possible. Obviously, don't give them further information. Don't to like, hey, what's your social security? Oh, by the way, it's this. That's not helpful. Try to save and build a report of everything you have of what's going on, and then you can turn it over to the police, or you can turn it to the Attorney General's office, and we'll do the following up. And if it referred to our office, we'll move forward with a prosecution.
And then the other thing that popped up, but that do not call list, like that's through the Attorney General, is that through your
That is
phone company?
that is through the Attorney General, the Attorney General's office. Excuse me. Now there are methods that your phone company can do to help prevent, repetitive calls, or I've noticed they were scam calls. At least through my, I know I have AT&T, so my service provider does notice this is kind of a block call. You want to block it. You can definitely look into those and try to find different ways, but I would say generally if it's repetitive, if you feel very uncomfortable and if you question it, always refer to the Attorney General's office. They will follow up.
So, I keep getting the same phone number calling me. Sometimes I'll hear a 5-second voicemail that you can't really understand.
Yeah.
I called the number from a public phone at work,
Mm.
and there's a person that answers, but they won't tell you where they're from.
Yeah.
Is that somebody? Is that a number that should be reported?
Yes. And
it's like every other day I get the same number calling.
yes, and there's multiple ways too. So I do know there's been several incidents where people will ask you or will call you and they will ask you a question, a yes or no question, and they will record your voice, either yes or no, and see how they can use that further. So if you say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and yes, this is Jake, then they will use that yes part, yes, this is Jake, and use it to on other documentations and other information. They will just kind of cop your name and then use it as yes, Jake, for everything they need moving forward, because that's your voice. And it's very hard to dispute your own voice when you have those calls. So, but also too, I would say just block the call and report it, and make sure that you don't follow up with those people. And also too, just in general, by you answering, that reports on their system that someone is there, that's a legitimate number. When you don't answer, they will keep calling it, but at some point they will give up. But if you answer, that means, yes, that is someone there, that's a human being, then they will follow up with that. So don't respond on your phone, but like you said, you call from a different number. That's probably more helpful. But then now they have that number on record. So that's how they do. They store and gather data constantly and see how they can utilize it. And then they sometimes resell that data and information to different organizations. The amount of data that they have on people is pretty immensely. Whether that's public information or something they will sell it on the dark web for information. But you'll be surprised how often all of our information, especially dealing with social media, is out there. So want to protect as much as possible, especially the most valuable things like your social security number, your address, and things like that. I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay.
You're freaking me out. I'm like, I need to go off everything now.
But yes, here in the prosecutor's office, we do have programs regarding that. We have changed a lot of our models and systems over the years, especially COVID certainly has not helped with that. We used to have a fraud and prevention personnel that kind of kind of come out and do this. That has changed since Prosecutor Mears have came into office. And, a lot of our programs have changed and either reduced or expanded in different ways. One of the programs I did want to talk to you about is our, I'm sure Leah has mentioned this before, is our second chance programs. Our second chance programs is designed to help people get their license reinstated. So in Marion County, you'll be shocked by this, but about 1 in 10 drivers here in Marion County are drive around with suspended driver's license. And that can happen for a variety of reasons, where they had a busted taillight and they couldn't afford to get it repaired, and so they got a ticket and they had to go to traffic court, they couldn't afford it, and then the debt kind of starts snowballing, right? Or one of our another initiatives that we're trying to help them with is our good faith is if a custodial parent has accrued a debt of over $3,000 and they get behind on their child support, 3 months behind the child support, the state of Indiana will revoke your driver's license. And so what we try to do here in the prosecutor's office is literally give people a second chance. If you're going to make payments toward your child support obligations, if you can make a good faith effort in order to help get your license reinstated, what we're going to do, we're going to provide you a free attorney, pro bono attorneys or volunteers, attorneys throughout the entire city and state that will come and work through your case, help you navigate through the traffic court system, and help you get your license reinstated. And fortunately, the traffic court system here in Marion County has been very generous towards our effort and have waived thousands of dollars towards individuals to help them get their license reinstated. And unfortunately, you need your driver's license just about anything you do, whether your car insurance or whether you want to get a certain type of job, especially dealing with driving itself, you're going to need your driver's license. So Prosecutor Mears is trying to make a good faith effort to help people get their license reinstated, and he has helped tens of thousands of people here in Marion County get their license reinstated because he doesn't want to have the criminal justice system messing people's up day-to-day life, especially if you have kids and family, you have to go to work. It just has a constant cloud of anxiety over people's shoulder because of fear of prosecution, simply because they have suspended driver's license. A lot of it at no fault of their own, simply because it's affordability and they can't pay for it or afford for it. So that's one of the initiatives that the Prosecutor Mears is very proud of. And that also kind of helps dealing with our expungement, right? We want to make sure people get a second chance at life. If they serve their time for whatever crime they committed and they reintroduced back into society, we want to make sure they have a fair shake. They have a fair chance to go to work and get their education and move forward with their life. And so part of our office is letting people know that you can get your criminal record expunged. Now, there are certain aspects of how to do that. It's not a one case fit all type of situation. It is case by case. The more severe the case is, the less likely that would happen, and you only really have one shot to get your record expunged. So we let people know that we will work with you. There are attorneys here, and particularly the Christian Legal Services is a great partner that we've been using to help individuals get your get your criminal record expunged. And we're going to do everything we can for those individuals who want to really get back into society without the fear or the stigma dealing with the criminal record on them. And we want to make sure we can be supportive in that matter as much as possible. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
How does one apply to that second chance program?
Yes, perfect. So you can apply online, but however, I've been told that our online form is changing. And so, Gilly, if you don't mind, if I can send you that information so you can share it out to all your members. But essentially, we used to have an online form where we ask your name, your driver's license information, or your ID information, date of birth, and then we will go into the B&V system and we'll look at your criminal record to see what happened, whether it's just a taillight or did you get involved in a DUI and that's why your license was suspended. And then we will see if you're eligible for our second chance license reinstatement program. So it is case by case. We will look at everyone's criminal history and why they got their license reinstated. And then someone will call you from our office, say, hey, you are eligible for our program. And then we'll follow up with the proceedings. So we're still doing them constantly. In fact, we're doing them once a month, but we're doing virtually. So we used to have these workshops in person, but now because due to COVID, we do them virtually. And it's all done by attorneys and paperwork. So usually if you yourself go through the program, what you'll get is a phone call and email say, hey, you're going to be meet with your pro bono attorney on this day and this time. He'll walk you through what's going on, and you provide all the information, and then you'll move forward with that. And then it takes a couple months to get through all the process, and we literally have several hundred people a month, but we can definitely get you taken care of. But essentially, I will get that information to you because it's a link that you will need, and it's a pretty straightforward program. But here's the thing, most importantly, you have to be a Marion County resident. It does not apply outside of Marion County. Any other questions? Yes.
Because you're Marion County.
Yes, but I mean,
Live here
if
if the offense was in another county.
the fence was in another county, we will probably have to look at that too. But I think that would probably be a little bit more tricky. I think the incident has to take place in Marion County. You have to be a Marion County resident, because you get into different jurisdictions and what other prosecutors have done in different counties. I think that gets a little more tricky.
Any other prosecutors in the state that are using that program?
No, we are the only ones that are doing it. In fact, because of our office, our office was recognized statewide as one of the best child support services in the state, simply because our Good Faith initiative helped custodial parents get their license reinstated, because we were able to move through a lot of the casework as fast as possible. I mean, frankly, we're the largest county in the state, so we do move a little bit faster, but we were recognized for how resourceful we are with a lot of our parents who are going through child support obligation issues, and we try to process their information as fast as possible. A few more things before I hopefully don't take too much of your time. As recently, the prosecutor Mears announced a hate crimes hotline. Excuse me. And so there is now a hotline for individuals to report a biased crime or a hate crime. It's a motivated crime that intended to hurt individuals simply because of their race, their religion, or any type of characteristic they can define, or their beliefs. And so if you believe that a hate crime is being committed, if you know someone who's being perpetrated from a crime, please let us know. There's a Hateline crime line, and that number is 317-327-5314. So please call that hotline if you have any concerns, if you, again, witness or know of any reports of a particular crime, and we'll move forward with that information. We'll start investigating. And if it rises to the level of criminal prosecution, we'll move forward with that. The reason why we have this now is because Indiana now has a hate law in place on our state books. We did not have that a few years ago. There's only a federal hate crime law. And but the thing about that is, of the years, in the last 10 years, we only had one successful conviction of a hate crime on the federal level here in the state of Indiana. And I'm pretty sure that we probably will know more instances where crime has taken place. But here in Marion County, we want to know more about that. That's why we established this hate crimes hotline. Let people know that if they witness anything, they see anything that rise to that level, please let us know. We'll come out, we'll investigate, we'll hear your story, and we'll move forward with prosecution. And again, I will get that information to you. I do have some flyers here, but afterwards I can definitely share with everyone as well. Any other questions thus far before I move to my final input here?
I mean, I know that you guys have provided really nice email newsletter, so I'm
Yeah.
sharing that with all of our members.
Yes, so we do have a new newsletter. It started about 6 to 9 months ago. Essentially, so we provide a monthly newsletter to all of our community partners and neighborhoods to let you know kind of what we're doing in the community. Again, going back to what I said, we're building that trust and relationship with the community, let people know that, hey, we're out here having conversations and meeting with folks and try to address their issues, most importantly. We're not just here to wave, we're here to report information and share that with our team, to ultimately let the prosecutor know that we are noticing some shifts or changes or concerns in the community, and the prosecutor definitely wants to be informed on that, because that definitely affects policy. I can definitely tell you that our Second Chance program is built based off of what we have noticed in the community and what that needs to take place. So, in the last 6 months, we developed a newsletter to let community know what we're doing, that we're out in the community, and way for let people know that hopefully their first interaction with the prosecutor's office is not when you're about to go to jail. So let's people know that, hey, there's a light face to things, and this is how we do things a little bit different. But I just want to also share some general facts of what kind of took place from our office last year. In 2021, historically, our office has prosecuted 1 in 4 jury trials in the state. With even more significant court restriction and locally due to COVID, we still prosecute nearly 1 in 5 of all jury trials in the state of Indiana. Excuse me, reading this wrong information. So we prosecuted over 28 murders last year, including 5 attempted murders, with a major conviction rate of 71%. Now, I know that you may read on the news that there's been a lot of homicides last year. Particularly, it was the highest homicides in the city's history. And while that is extremely concerning, we're moving forward with a lot of these cases as well. I got to tell you that the vast majority of why some of these cases kind of go, I wouldn't say they kind of stall out sometimes, is because frankly, we don't always get cooperation from the public. When the IMPD or Speedway police are investigating these stories and investigating these cases, we try our best to get information from witnesses and evidence and things like that. Unfortunately, because there is an ongoing distrust of the public with law enforcement, a lot of times there's a lack of cooperation from witnesses. So that makes it difficult for us to move forward with a lot of these cases and prosecution, because the witness who may have solved that murder is not willing to come forward and provide testimony on the trial. And so it's difficult for us. Like, we think we know this person is, we have a pretty good stance on where we feel on the case, but unless this person come forward and help us get the final information, say, yes, that person was there, and we can move forward with conviction, it makes things a lot more difficult. And so I just want the public to be aware that we do our very best to try to move forward with a lot of these major felony cases, but a lot of that depends on the public providing that information to us. Like always, if you see anything, always call the police, always tell people, let people know, but it can be very difficult for our office to move forward with a lot of these cases. There's still, unfortunately, a backlog of cases, due to, the rate of cases and how much we get. We have approximately over 30,000 pending cases in our office. Not all of those are murders. Not all of those are major felonies. And like I said, a lot of them are, frankly, from traffic court, dealing with second chance. In fact, the majority are from traffic court. When you get pulled over and you get a ticket, you go to traffic court, that's for us to move forward with, prosecution for us, compared to, a shooting and things like that. So the vast majority are from our traffic court. Interesting fact, you guys know what's the number 1 filed case last year from our office? Number 1 filed case. Any guess?
You just said traffic, but I guess that's not it.
Close. Little hint. So there was over, the number 1 most filed case in our office was operating a vehicle while intoxicated and endangering a person. We filed over 2,000 cases of those here in Marion County. Second was theft. Third was domestic battery. Fourth, criminal trespassing. Fifth, resisting law enforcement. We had over 978 cases regarding those. Possession of methamphetamine, carrying a handgun without a license, intimidation, battery resulting in bodily injury, possession of narcotic drugs. That was 10th, narcotic drugs. Invasion of privacy and unlawful possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon. That was about 402 of those. So again, I know the media and the public are aware of the high murder rates, and 271 is very tragic, but there are still thousands of other cases our office move forward with. And we have great attorneys in our office, and we do our very utmost best to move forward with these cases, especially dealing with traffic court and trying to get those out of the way, because by having these programs, that allows our office and our deputy prosecutor to have more time to move forward with a lot of those major felony cases, whether that's rape, murder, child molestation, things like that. Those are the very serious cases where a lot of the victims is extremely delicate dealing with the victim's family. So the more time and resources we have dedicated towards those and preventing crimes and letting people know, the better we are with our numbers. And 271 is a very tragic number, but also Indianapolis is not a standalone city. This has happened in a lot of other major cities alone. Whether the results of it is because of COVID, we don't know, but I want to let people know that Prosecutor Mears is doing his utmost best to let people know that he's here to serve the public and to move forward with criminal prosecution when it meets that challenge. And with that, I'll take any questions. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Is your office still prosecuting marijuana offenses?
Prosecutor Mears implemented a policy a couple years ago to not move forward with criminal charges for individuals small levels of marijuana under an ounce. I think it's about 30 grams. And that is for individuals who are 18 or over. That policy does not apply to minors. So if you're 17 or younger, you will still be moved forward, and we'll let go through the juvenile system. But that policy was determined by the prosecutor because he saw the effects of it. If you caught with a joint or small levels of marijuana, you get arrested, you get taken to the, downtown court, that dramatically affects your life. Once you get in the criminal justice system, it's extremely hard to get out. Any small level of marijuana, that's on your criminal record, and that's why we have the expungement services. And that shouldn't affect your entire life outcome simply because you have small amounts of marijuana. And also, too, it affects proportion among racially. African Americans, Hispanics, and white Americans use marijuana proportionally at the exact same rates. However, African Americans and Latino Americans are prosecuted at a higher rate than white Americans. That is not just for Marion County, that is consistent across the country. So Prosecutor Mears said, I don't want to negatively affect someone's individual outcome of life simply because they had a joint in their pocket. If the prosecutor feels that if he's in the possession to minimize the long-term impact of someone's role in the criminal justice system, he definitely feels he has a hand to play in that. And I know that's not popular into a lot of people, but you'll be surprised how much that have saved you as a taxpayer money from not moving forward with those types of prosecution.
With all the states that have approved,
True.
it just is really.
Yes, more and more states either significantly decriminalize it or just outright legalize it because it's outdated policy, outdated laws, unfortunately. It doesn't mean that you or whoever have to consume it or anything like that, but it certainly affects our criminal justice system immensely. Any other questions?
So there was a question, because you were talking about young people. Is the prosecutor's office looking to help or, like you said, not get our young people in sort of like the prison pipeline?
Yes.
Are there any programs that you're working on to help just like either minors or just young people that if they are, charged with a crime, that there still is an opportunity for like a second chance or looking to see to make sure that they're not having a huge impact on their life?
Absolutely. One of the demographics that we target, particularly age group between 14 and 19, in our office, that age group particularly is very vulnerable to get more involved in the criminal justice system. So we have several programs. One is our youth fellowship program, which we does an internship program within our office. It's like a summer 6-week program. They're able to come in, meet with the prosecutor, have discussions, and kind of build that relationship with our staff and let people know, like, hey, this is a different perspective of how the prosecutor's office work. We'll let you know how, to get involved with that. And we usually have that between May and July. So once that information becomes public, we'll put that in our newsletter, let people know how they can get involved. But also, too, just simply going out into the community. One thing that we did last year is Prosecutor Mears had a basketball clinic that he did with him by her collegiate school. Essentially, we just had a basketball session. We had some kids through the community come and play basketball with the prosecutor. I don't know if you realize the prosecutor is very tall and played college basketball, so that's one of his favorite pastime. And so simply having conversation with them, playing basketball, having a different perspective of what's going on. In fact, here in a couple months, we're going to do a mock trial with Pike High Schoolers. We're going to go to their school. We're going to present them with a case like, hey, this is what's going on in our community. this is what we experience here in the prosecutor's office. How would you do things differently? And that engage with them, different ways for them to have a different perspective on how our office operates. But we have multiple programs and ways that we try to help individuals, young adults, get involved with our office in a more positive way. Now, on the flip side, say there's a young adult who has unfortunately got themselves involved with the juvenile system. Now, we have different diversion programs, meaning alternative punishment programs, alternative sentencing programs within our office. Now, that is case by case. That's by individuals trying to steer them away. So by the time they become an adult, they're not necessarily in that repetitive habitual offense. So we try to work with individuals on both sides, prevent them from getting the criminal lifestyle, but also if they find themselves in the criminal justice, in the way to get them out before they have a more, again, deliberate lifestyle moving forward. Hopefully I didn't take too much of your business time.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Thank you.
Mr. Level. You understand? I appreciate it. All right. So yeah, I just going to go over our business meeting. Should be pretty easy for us, if that's okay. One thing is just to make sure, did everybody get their membership card for 2022? All right, we are in the process of making sure everybody does get their card. There was about 20 that I delivered into mailboxes, but if you haven't, like I said, we can definitely work on that. A little bit might just be a bit of a lag time between when we pick up our forms from our mailbox to like inputting the information and getting the membership cards made. So if they have not been made for you, I will definitely work on that. Barb Hellier, who's our treasurer, who's actually really good, is just making sure she's updating our information and also updating the mailbox, and then updating our membership. So she was unable to join us today, but she did give me the heads up on what our amount is and how many members we have. So she gave us the heads up that our account is at $2,918.50. We have 29 paid members and 10 business members. So if we do have more people who have their forms out, we'll definitely change that and make sure that we get those out. I did want to give you the heads up of what are our discounts for this year. And once again, what we have noticed is that a lot of our tried and true members that give us our business counts are mostly our Main Street businesses, have done a really great job, but there are some new businesses and we're reaching out to them. So I would say as much as we are going to try to list all the discounts that you get on your membership card, please routinely check our website, because if we do have new discounts, we'll be adding to that, and we'll also share out on Facebook and also as an email. But we have Toland's Florist is 15% off flowers and gifts, but local service only. Dawson's is 10% discount, excludes alcoholic beverages. Three Sisters in a Trunk is 15% off any purchase. Barbecue and Bourbon is 10% discount, excludes alcoholic beverages. Tacos and Tequila is also 10% off, excludes also alcoholic beverages. You just can't get discounts on the margaritas, I'm sorry to say. Vroom Room on Main Street, which has moved. I don't know if you guys know that they moved a little bit farther down the street. They are right next to City Dogs. They're going to do 10% off their services, but it does exclude the massage and microblading. B. Aaron Designs, which is right next to Dawson's, is doing a 10% off purchase. Famous Tomato is a 10% off soup and salad bar. And then the Spark, which is one of our new coffee shops, is going to give us 15% off any drink or pastry item. So we will make sure that the businesses have their certificates so they kind of know what discounts that they're offering to us. So maybe they'll display it for us. But then also we'll just make sure that everybody has their membership card to show. Janet?
Leo's also.
Leo's!
$2 off the price of the haircut.
Thank you so very much. At the time, I didn't see it listed, but thank you so very much. Leo's Barber, which is a great guy, he's going to give us $2 off any of the haircuts. So like I said, we are going to try to see some of our other businesses are interested in offering a discount, but it's just a good way for us to support local businesses by using these discounts. Other information that is available is in March, we are looking to have a master gardener come talk to us about how we can make our spring plantings work well for us, and then also being able to maybe make our neighborhood look even more lovely. And then we are going to ask our new board member, Jason Van Cycle, to give a presentation on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum in April. Other things I wanted to get in touch and give you more information about too. The Speedway Trail Association has a new website, www.speedwaytrails.com. And what's really nice about this is that they linked it up to you can donate online, which I think really helps with the organization, especially since they are taking on our trails. And I know that they were awarded an amazing grant, so they are going to start working on finishing up and starting that trail that goes from Speedway all the way downtown. CUNY, which is the Historic Urban Neighborhoods of Indianapolis, did have their quarterly meeting actually this Saturday. They had a really interesting presentation with Jason Shelley, who talked about the sort of legislative architecture issues that neighborhood have, especially historic neighborhoods, about how do we make sure that our houses are, not that Speedway doesn't have like sort of like a HOA, but how do they make sure that the legislation supports historic neighborhoods by keeping architecturally important buildings, but also if they do want to have a theme or protect houses or have houses built along with the theme of the neighborhood, what kind of legislation is available to you? And then also the Speedway Arts Council, which was really great. The Spark and the Founders Grounds are actually being allowing local artists to sell in their 2 coffee houses. So if you do want to support local artists, both the Art Council has on their website the different artists in the different sort of like medium that they use, and then where can you find it either at the Spark or at Founders Ground, which I thought was amazing. And then the Indianapolis Neighborhood Resource Center has been so nice. They have been getting these really great free tickets to Newfields and then asking neighborhood associations, would you like to have some? So we actually got a couple of free tickets for Winter Lights. That was amazing. And so they actually have tickets for the 22nd and the 23rd for the Loom Van Gogh exhibit that is at the Newfields. So I'm going to send out an email. I don't think they can give us like all 60 of their tickets, but if anybody is interested in having those free tickets, she did ask me to like say what certain number that I want to get. I can get the tickets and then I can either mail them or drop them off. So if anybody is interested in that, it is sort of like this immersive like experience where you like walk in and it looks like Van Gogh's, Starry Night, or it looks like the sunflowers. And so like the ceiling, the floor, the walls looks like the painting. And then you just kind of like walk through it. And, Newfields, unfortunately, is still kind of expensive. So if you are interested in it, and I think the Loom itself is a other payment. So if you are interested, please give me an email at our email address, or if you want, on Facebook, if you want to give me a post saying that I'm interested in tickets. Our town council meeting is on Valentine's Day. I feel sorry for all those people that have to do a town council. February 15th, the Speedway Community Development Corporation is having their meeting. And then the 21st is President's Day, which is a federal holiday. So I do believe like all of our banks and our office will be closed. So just be aware of that. Other things to keep in mind too, our board meeting will be on February 21st. So if anyone has any things that they want to ask the board or want the board to discuss, you're more than welcome to give me an email or even attend the board meeting. And then since we are kind of low on our in-person crowd, and I had thought about doing this as an email last month, but I didn't do it, I am going to go ahead and send out our January and our December minutes and have our members collectively look over those and make sure that we have hopefully approval that we can go ahead and get those on the books. And the last thing is just open to all. Does anybody have any questions or any comments? I know about the membership. I will work on that for you guys. But I don't know if anybody had any questions about our association or what we're doing heading forward. You guys are being very quiet. And like the teacher in me is like, let me ask a discussion question to make us talk. But that's okay. We'll go ahead and finish up for today. Thank you so very much for joining us in person. Thank you for all of our audiences watching online. Once again, this is available on the Speedway Community TV channel. So if you did not get this as a live stream, you can go back and watch this as a recording. I'll make sure I share this information on our Facebook page, but also our email. Thank you very much and have a great night. Yay. Let's get it.